All right, so one of the most common questions that we get asked is, what does it really cost to live in Phoenix, Arizona? So let's get started.
Hey, I'm Brady McKee. This is my mom and real estate partner, Shauna Kurowski, and we are the Desert Charm Living real estate team. On this channel, we talk about all things Phoenix lifestyle, living here, moving here, all the things that you need to know before you do. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and we are licensed real estate agents in the state of Arizona, and we love making these videos for you, but we would love more to actually help you with your real estate needs. So this number that's popping up, make sure you call us, text us, or email us. We are the ones that are going to be answering those calls, texts, questions, whatever you have. And we know you don't want to wait too long, so let's get started with the video.
Okay, so one of the things, let's first talk about housing. So we'll typically see one of two things with people that are relocating to the Phoenix area. We will see people that are coming from more expensive areas. Maybe they're coming from the Pacific Northwest or sometimes in California, and their housing costs are much more expensive than they are here. So they're coming here and they're selling their house for more money, and then they're able to buy more house here. And then on the flip side of that, we see people moving from places like the Midwest, and those housing costs are going to be a little bit more. So our median price, so your typical 3-bedroom, 2-bath house here, about 1,500 square feet, our median price right now is about $480. So if you're coming from somewhere in the Midwest and you were expecting $275, your housing costs are going to be a little bit more than that.
Okay, so you want to rent first when you get here. Here's the thing, is that you are going to want to expect to have a pretty high rental rate right now, just like housing prices across much of the nation, Phoenix, Arizona included. Rental prices have gone up. So for a 2-bedroom, you're probably looking at an average around $1,800. Of course, like we've said on other videos, there's a lot of different areas within Phoenix. You've got, the city of Phoenix, the main, area, and then you have all of the cities and suburbs that surround Phoenix. And so depending on where you go, some of that is going to be probably higher, some of that's going to be lower. But just expect, I would say, for like a 2-bedroom apartment, you're probably looking at $1,800 a month, give or take, a few hundred, depending on the part of the Phoenix metro that you're in. For a house, for like a 3-2, 1,500 to 1,750 or so square feet, you're gonna be looking around $2,300 average price, average median rent price a month around the Phoenix metro area. So if you have a family and you're moving here and you're like, an apartment is not going to work, but we're not ready to decide on where we want to live first, we want to rent and see if we even figure out where we like. Of course, that can be a great idea for you, but just know that rent price is going to be pretty high, and it's going to be something that I think you should budget for and just plan if you're going to be relocating here and renting first, rather than starting to buy and building equity right away upon moving to the Phoenix metro area.
Okay, so this is another really big question that people want to know, because it does get so hot here, is what does it cost for utilities and internet? So let's start with internet, because that's a little bit easier. Typically, internet is going to be about $150 a month for your high-speed internet if you're living in the Phoenix metro area. Your utilities, that's going to vary. There's a lot of factors, actually, that are going to play into that. But we're going to give you an example for Peoria, Arizona. It's going to be about $215 a month, and that's for your typical about 2,000 square foot home. Obviously, those costs are going to be higher in the summer, but what the utilities here do a lot of times is they have like these averaging plans where you pay one payment, so you're not paying a huge payment in the summer, and then virtually no payment as far as electricity in the winter. A lot of times people don't even turn their heater on here because it doesn't really get that cold, and we enjoy that kind of winter weather. Sometimes you might turn your fireplace on, but so you can expect about $215 a month for about a 2,000 square foot home for your utility costs.
Okay, transportation costs. So the first thing I'll just point out is that Phoenix is not really like a very friendly for things like biking and busing, light rail, things like that. We have a little bit of that, but because Phoenix is so spread out, if you're wanting to use public transportation, it's a little bit more difficult, and you're not able to do that all the way across the valley. So if you're in, Surprise, Arizona, and you want to use public transportation to get to like Central Phoenix for work, that's really not even going to be possible, and it's definitely too far for biking. The weather doesn't really allow for that. So there is some public transportation, some busing. We have some light rail through some of the central and like downtown parts of Phoenix that they're kind of expanding. And that is a more affordable way to go for transportation if it works for where you're living and where you're trying to travel to. Now, gas prices, you're probably not surprised by this, but gas prices are pretty high. They're in like the mid $4 range per gallon right now. So if you're commuting and you have a 45-minute to an hour commute to work, you're probably looking at a couple $100s of gas per month. That's not including, if you want to travel or take like weekend trips or anything like that. So because Phoenix is so spread out, I do think that depending on where you're working, now, a lot of people are working from home, which is the nice thing. If you're working virtually, it's not going to be as much, right? You're not going to be spending as much in gas. But if you're driving all over the place, I would expect, potentially up to a couple $100s, in gas prices per month. I would say try to get a gas-friendly, like mile per gallon friendly vehicle, just because the public transportation is a little bit more limited just with how Phoenix and the metro area is spread out. And if you want to be in the suburbs but you need to commute into the city, or some of those job centers like Tempe, Chandler, the medical centers in like North Phoenix and stuff, it's just going to be a little bit harder to use public transportation to get there. And it's not going to be time efficient and cost efficient. It might be a little bit more cost efficient, but you're going to spend a lot of time, going between bus stops and things like that.
Okay, food. So let's talk about food. First things first, cup of coffee is going to run you probably about $5 to $7, depending on, how fancy you like your coffee. And if you guys want to go out to eat, fast food's going to run you about $12. Sit down at a restaurant closer to $30, and we have lots of options here for that as well. Food trucks, and there's a lot of foodies out there, and you want to know. So food trucks, we have a lot of food trucks in like the downtown areas. You're probably going to see more of that closer to the universities, things like that. We tend to have them in the West Valley at like events, if there's a farmer's market going on, or a lot of times they'll do food truck Friday to get them out into the community. That's typically going to be a little bit more expensive because you are supporting a small business. Their costs are a lot higher. Their restaurant is right there on the truck. So lots of great options with food trucks. If you want to try something new, that's a great opportunity to do that and support small business at the same time. And then for all of you that like to cook at home, we have lots of grocery options here as well. We've got, just your typical regular grocery stores, and then we have a lot of farmers market type stores, Whole Foods, Sprouts. So if you're, you like to eat natural, things like that. So typical grocery prices are going to be about, I would say, a couple $100s per person per month. So depending on how often you cook at home and the size of your family, that's a pretty good estimate where you can kind of get a feel for how much it's going to cost you to eat in Phoenix.
Okay, so the last thing that we want to talk about, and this is another one that really impacts you, is what are the taxes like here in Phoenix? So income tax that's obviously going to go based off of your income. That's going to go anywhere from about a 2.5% to a 4.5% or so, give or take. Those are not exact numbers, but if you have a higher income, just expect they're going to be in the higher tax bracket. Sales tax. Now this is going to vary by county and by city. So this can be a little bit higher, but I would say it would range anywhere from like 8 to up to almost 12%. Typically what you're going to see is Scottsdale is going to have one of those higher sales tax rates. So there's some neighborhoods that are like right outside of Scottsdale that have all those Scottsdale amenities, but they don't have the Scottsdale taxes, and so people really gravitate towards those couple of neighborhoods for that reasons, just because it's a couple percentage points. And if you're in the Scottsdale area, one of the reasons you're probably there is because you like to shop. And so it'll vary by city, but I'm going to say anywhere from like 8 to almost 12% depending on city. And then the last thing is property taxes. Now, property taxes, we have a lot lower than like the national average. We have a lot of people that move here from other states that are like, your taxes for your property taxes are so much lower. So you're going to pay about, I think it's 0.64 or 65% of your assessed value. So that comes out to a lot lower. I know, for like the average price home in like the Northwest Valley, you're probably looking at like $2,000 to $3,000 a year, which comes up to a couple $100 a month in your monthly payment. And for a lot of people that are relocating into the Phoenix area, they're saying that's upwards of like half or 3 times less than what they were paying before, or that some of them were paying, almost that same amount for just 1 month with, a tiny little house in whatever bigger metro area they're coming from. We're looking at you, Oregon and California people. That's typically where we
New
hear
Jersey.
that the most. Yeah, and Chicago too,
Yes.
actually, because there's also, like the transfer taxes and things like that that come when you move, or there's all sorts of things. So we typically have people say that we have a lot lower taxes, with the exception of the sales tax, because we know some states don't have sales tax and they have just taxes on other things, but we don't have taxes on groceries, right?
Yes, we used to not have taxes on
Oh.
groceries. I think the city of Phoenix is the only one that doesn't actually tax food anymore.
Okay, so anyways, that's okay. So it used to be like that, but still, I think compared to a lot of places that we have overall, our taxes are better than most parts, and I think if you look at the rankings, we are a little bit below like the national average when it comes to taxes. So that's when we saw all the migration happening with 2020 and a lot of people starting to relocate because they can work virtually. That was a big thing for people, was to say, where can I go and make my money go for me further? And a big part of that is taxes and making sure that you're keeping as much money in your pocket as you can. So we hope that helps. We think, obviously those are not exact numbers. It's going to depend on your city, how much you spend, your income, things like that, as well as your home price if you're a homeowner and you own property. But overall, we would say that our taxes here are pretty good.
And one last thing we want to talk to you about is car registration. So a lot of times people will tell us when they move here, oh my gosh, our car registration is so expensive. So one of the great things about Phoenix and Arizona, we have great roads, we have great freeways, and that infrastructure costs money. And in the state of Arizona, that's how they pay for it, with your car registration. So to give you an idea, about a $30,000 car is going to cost you about $512 a year. But take heart, every year your car decreases in value, that goes down. So, if you have an older car, it's going to be more affordable. But that's just another thing for you to be aware of when you're looking to make a move to Phoenix.
So if you have any questions about these costs, or maybe more specific to the area that you're looking for, maybe, a certain neighborhood or home size, maybe you're looking at buying a, 3,500 square foot home in Anthem or North Peoria, and you're like, well, are my costs, all of them, going to double, if I buy that size house? Like, what is that going to look like? Reach out to us. If this video is helpful, we make videos like this all the time, so make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and then if you're actually thinking about moving here, you're considering it, or you're ready to move here and you're like, I'm ready to get rolling, I'm ready to move to Phoenix, Arizona, where can I start? There's going to be a number popping up. You can call us, text us, email us. We are here for you. We're licensed real estate agents in the state of Arizona, and this is what we do for work. So we make these videos to help educate you and get you prepared and started in the process. But that next step is actually reaching out to us so we can actually make sure we answer your questions and come up with a personalized plan for you and your move to the Phoenix, Arizona area.